Welcome back to the homestead, everyone. You can always tell that it's fall is in the air when it's time to start stacking firewood. We just got a new shipment in today, just 5-face cord, just to kind of get us started. We have 2 furnaces in the house, and wood is cheaper than propane where we are. Now 5-face cord isn't going to get us through the whole winter. I'm still going to have to cut some, so that'll be a whole other undertaking. I'm sure there'll be more videos on that. And then I'll probably get at least 1 more truckload, another 5-face cord. And I bet you about a dozen face cord will probably get us through for the winter. Now we've already got about 4 face cord stacked up in the barn from last spring. And that's had all summer to dry, and it's coming along good. So for those of you that don't heat with wood, don't know what a cord is, a general rule of thumb for a cord of wood is it's a stack 4 foot high by 4 foot wide by 8 feet long. And so a face cord is about 1/3 of a full cord. It's generally, you're cutting your pieces of firewood between 16 to 20 inches. The one behind me here, these are 16 inches. Generally, when I'm doing it, I'll usually cut them between 18 and 20 inches long. I have a 20-inch bar on my chainsaw, and it's just really easy math to just use the bar as the gauge for setting the length. You know, how many times can you divide 16 or 20 into 48 inches, 4 foot wide? That's going to kind of determine, if you cut your sticks longer, you're going to be able to have less face cords per cord. But as a general rule of thumb, it's 3 face cord per cord. So this is the equivalent of 1 2/3 cords of wood. If you're purchasing wood from somebody else, or even if you're cutting it yourself, something that you got to be concerned about is moisture content. Generally, you want to get between 16 and 20%. 20% at the high end. Green wood is going to be, anywhere from 50% down to 20%, depending on what species and also what time of the year that you're cutting at. But you probably want to get a moisture meter like this. This one's made by General. I got it on Amazon for, I think it was like 30 bucks or something like that. But this is really useful in figuring out whether your wood is ready to burn or whether you have to let it season. Most wood has to sit for about 6 to 8 months, if it's freshly cut. Longer if you're in a wetter part of the country. I like to cut trees that are dead standing if I can get them, because it's drying out standing vertically. It's going to usually be the wettest at the bottom. It'll get drier towards the top. So if I can cut down a tree and I can take moisture measurements from the base of the tree, as long as it's around 20% or just below, I know that the rest of the tree is going to be good to go for burning immediately. If I'm cutting down something that's green, I'm probably going to have to wait until later in the winter or even the next year, depending on how wet it is and what variety of tree it is. Around here we have a lot of maples and oaks, a lot of hardwoods, not so much in the way of pine. If you got yourself a moisture meter, so it says wood, and then you can hit the mode button and you can change it and it'll say building. For our purposes here, we just need it to be to wood. And so you've got 2 tines on the top of the meter, and you're going to stab those into the piece of wood that you're trying to measure the moisture on. And it's going to give you a reading in percentage. Now, it can be a little bit sensitive. I've found that if you don't get both the tines in at exactly the same time, if you have one go in and then the other, it can give you kind of a false reading, sometimes a false high reading. So just try to put both tines in at the same time and try a different section of the wood and see if you get the same reading or not. So see, this time it read a little bit lower. It read about 14.7 there and 15.8 there. So it's reading in the green level right now. If it gets over 16% on this meter, it will start to beep at you and it'll show up as red, as high. Let's see, yes, there we go. It's a 12%. Yeah, see, 17%. It shows it as high. And it really just depends on where within the woods. So you gotta take a bunch of readings from a few different locations. So as you can see, it's not that hard to use one of the moisture meters. Biggest thing is take many readings if you can. Don't just stick it in one spot and go with that. Different parts of the tree, different pieces of wood are gonna show different readings depending on the moisture content. Take a bunch of readings and then just kind of do the mental average on it. Does it, you know, the highs and the lows, and then kind of go from there. Look, remember, you're looking for something less than 20%. Ideally, you're looking for something about 10% to 15% is about the range that you should be getting for something that you're going to burn immediately. If it's something that you don't need immediately, the moisture content can be, you know, better than 20-25%, and you know, you give it a few months and it'll be where you need it to be, as long as you have dry weather ahead of you. Now, if you're in a part of the country that's really humid all the time, or you leave it out in the rain, it's going to soak up whatever water that falls on it and whatever humidity is in the air. You have to keep it out of the rain, but you have to let airflow around it. So you can't just stick it underneath a tarp, say, oh, it's dry, sure, but it's going to be perspiring, moisture is going to be evaporating off of it. So if you seal it up totally, it's not going to dry out. It's just going to get moldy, and you're not going to get anywhere with it. It's going to have lots of airflow, and it's got to be in a dry place, and you just got to give it time. But anyway, enough of me talking. Let's get to stacking. So it's a good practice when you're storing your wood is to keep it off the ground so that you don't end up getting rot and moisture into the wood on the bottom. The method that I use is pallets. We have a lot of manufacturing facilities within an easy drive from our house. And it's common practice for them at the end of the week to put out less than desirable pallets that, you know, maybe they had shipments that came in on, but they broke them and they can't send them back out to their customers, or they're just the wrong size. A lot of companies around here will stack them outside for people such as myself to come and take what we want. So I quick ran and got a couple more pallets from a local business because we were running out of floor space here. So the problem with that is you never know what you're going to get. It's kind of a patchwork. None of them are exactly the right size. They don't all line up. It is what it is. It's free. I can't argue with free, and it gets the job done. that was a little bit of a workout. It took a few hours, but it was actually 5 face cord, so that's good to see. Oh, you know, I love heating with wood, but it is a lot of work, and this was the easy part. You know, I feel that felling the trees and splitting them is as much, if not more, work than just stacking and splitting. It's kind of the last step in the process. But nothing beats wood heat in the wintertime. In the words of my dad, wood heat, it's the heat that warms you twice. So you get your money worth out of it, and it's kind of like the Wojo Homestead workout program. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully someday I'll earn your subscription. Until then, wherever you are in life, remember to keep building.